So today, we're diving into some really profound ideas from the source material Fig's Deeper Mysteries. And it all starts with this one big question. Could ancient food traditions actually hold the key to solving our very modern feeling of disconnection?
I mean, does that hit home for you? It sure does for me. This quote just perfectly captures that feeling so many of us have, a sense of being a little adrift, disconnected. But what if the answer isn't something new we have to invent, but something ancient we've forgotten?
And that is the powerful question at the heart of this whole explainer. What if the path back to feeling whole doesn't start with the latest app or trend, but with wisdom that's literally thousands of years old? Okay, so to even begin to answer that, we first have to look at the problem, right? The core argument here is that we've somehow lost a really fundamental connection to the very food that keeps us alive. See, the central idea we're exploring is that food was never supposed to be just fuel. In the ancient worldview of the Tanakh, it's actually a sacred connection. Think of it like a bridge, linking our physical bodies to our spiritual selves. And just so we're all on the same page, when we talk about this biblical worldview, we're referring to the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible. This is the bedrock for the incredible ideas we're about to get into. Right, so a spiritual bridge. That sounds pretty big. How does that actually work? How can something as simple and everyday as a meal act as a bridge to something more? Let's dig into that. Well, according to this way of thinking, every single meal is an opportunity. It's covenantal, which means it's part of a sacred relationship. It's symbolic, packed with layers of meaning. And all of that means that when we eat with intention, it can actually become a pathway back to feeling whole. And you can really see this idea come to life in what the book of Deuteronomy calls the 7 species. These are foods that weren't just food, they were seen as the agricultural and spiritual heart of ancient Israel. So you've got your wheat and barley, grapes, figs, pomegranates, olives, and dates. These weren't just items on a grocery list. They were seen as vessels of meaning. Every single one of them taught a lesson about life, about resilience, and about our relationship with the world around us. All right, let's take one of these as an example, the olive tree. It's a fantastic symbol of resilience, but its deepest lesson isn't just in how it grows, but in how it's transformed. And this leads to such a powerful metaphor. The source explains that to get that precious olive oil, the very substance that lit the sacred menorah, the olive has to be crushed. Pressure does not destroy us, it refines us. I mean, just think about that for a second. It's a beautiful way to look at the challenges in our own lives. And here is the really cool part, where the ancient world and the modern world just click. The very same food that symbolized things like illumination and peace is now known by science to be rich in healthy fats that literally support our heart health and reduce inflammation. It's like the ancient symbolism knew exactly what science would one day prove. Okay, so now for the fig, the namesake for the source material we're exploring today. Its story is even more mysterious, and it reveals this incredible lesson about transformation. So get this, and this is a great little piece of trivia. Botanically speaking, a fig isn't actually a fruit. It's an inverted flower. It's like an entire secret garden that is folded in on itself. And the story gets even wilder. For those internal flowers to get pollinated and become the sweet fig we love, a tiny, specialized wasp has to crawl inside. And in that process, the wasp literally dissolves, becoming part of the fig and giving it life. It's this mind-blowing natural process, right? But it also serves as this living parable for spiritual elevation. You have something that might seem impure, the wasp, and it's completely transformed into something sweet, nourishing, and life-giving. What a metaphor. So this whole idea of mindful transformation doesn't just stop with 1 or 2 special foods, it actually extends to an entire system of eating. And the principle here is that boundaries aren't just about restriction, they're about intentionally creating meaning in your life. That system is called kashrut, and it's so easy to misunderstand this as just a list of do's and don'ts. But really, it's a framework for conscious living, for choosing what is fit or proper, in a way that elevates the simple act of eating into something sacred. For example, let's look at the rules for land animals. They require 2 very specific signs. The animal has to chew the cud, and it has to have a completely split hoof. So a cow, which has both, is okay, but a pig, which has the hoof but doesn't chew the cud, isn't. And a camel, which chews the cud but doesn't have the right hoof, isn't either. The point isn't arbitrary. It's about making you stop and think.
It forces a conscious choice, turning eating from a mindless act into a deliberate one that honors your body. Okay, so this is all fascinating ancient history, but what does it actually mean for us, right now, in our modern bodies and our fast-paced lives? Well, what's so amazing is how it's all coming full circle. It turns out that modern nutritional science is backing up the health benefits of these ancient ways of eating more and more. I love this line from the source material. Science is just now catching up to what these ancient rhythms knew all along. So the takeaway here isn't about adopting some super rigid diet. It's much simpler than that. It's really just an invitation to eat with a little more intention, to choose foods that actually honor our bodies, and to bring a sense of gratitude and even reverence back to our meals. And that really leaves us with one last big question to chew on. In our endless search for wellness and connection, what if the newest, most profound wisdom isn't new at all? What if it's been waiting for us all along, hidden in the oldest foods on Earth?